This is Big 12 Radio. You can do it, James. Just put your back into it. James Westling, Ari Temkin. But just your back, nothing else.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The key is putting your back.
I wonder if Ice Cube could still put his back into anything.
I don't think Ice Cube can get off the couch.
Yeah. Take that, Ice Cube.
And we have that in common.
James Westling, Ari Temkin, Big 12 Radio here on TuneIn. If you have not yet already, make sure to check us out on the TuneIn app. Download it. Heart the channel. Do the same as part of Big 12 Studios, whether it's on the Big 12's YouTube channel, Amazon Prime Video, Roku, Tubi, DirecTV Stream. Am I missing any, James?
Probably. The list is long, so I'm going to say no.
Okay, thank you.
Got it all. Crushed it.
Crushed it. We got to find ourselves on the BYU TV app, by the way. I don't know why we're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Between us and Homeward Bound, some really classic kids movies. It's a great app, by the way.
Spencer Litton's our guy. He comes on the show quite frequently, and what he was telling us that they'll play like classic football games, and they'll do all these really elaborate, in-depth features on all the sports: basketball, football, volleyball, baseball, etc.
BYU TV.
And then they'll play Homeward Bound at 7:00.
Well, the app,
it's a hard transition.
And the BYU TV app, it's a great app. It's free. It's got lots of movies. It's a great service, especially kids movies. If you have
Deep
kids.
dive on AJ DeBonsa, followed by, coming up next, Air Bud.
All right, James Westling, Ari Temkin, Big 12 Radio. Great to have you with us. Some injury news updates. Pete Nakos, Round 3 Sports, is saying that both Jacob Rodriguez and Howard Sampson, who were listed on as questionable on the initial availability report, will play this weekend. Pete Thamel from Yahoo, as we discussed, rather from ESPN. Haha, it's been a few years. Says Dylan Edwards will not play for K-State against TCU. And it is looking more and more like Sam Leavitt will not play for Arizona State, which is, let's park there for a moment, James. Arizona State and Utah, maybe the best game of the weekend. It's certainly one of the best games we've yet to discuss here on Big 12 Radio and Preview. It's kind of funny because I don't know what the perception is of Utah right now. This was a team that when the season started, a lot of people expected them to be competing towards the top of the conference. Some had them winning the conference. But it feels like they've been so good except for one game. And I don't know about you, but my opinion of Utah was skewed probably a little bit too much based on the outcome of the Texas Tech game. I don't think very highly of Utah, and that's not probably the case because, Texas Tech may actually be that good.
Exactly. And remember, this was essentially a one-score game going into, middle part of the third quarter. So I will park it. And if I'm Arizona State, I'm throwing it in reverse this weekend because without Sam Leavitt, this team's going backwards. And I thought, that is the injury of all injuries, in my opinion. All the guys that are beat up in this conference, I think the drop-off at that position is massive. And that's not a knock against the backup Jeff Sims as much as I give Sam Leavitt a ton of credit for the big wins that Arizona State has had this season. Where would they be without him? Well,
I'd say it's both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Sims hater, this guy.
He's a turnover machine, dude.
Turnover machine. That's all he does. Turn the ball over. But for Utah, I'm with you on that. And I think part of it is they had a bye after the Texas Tech game, and then they played West Virginia. Well, they went on the road to Morgantown, led 35-0 at halftime. That game was over 30 minutes in. And I think that this is a game that comes down to Jeff Sims' play, the Arizona State quarterback, but also why all of a sudden is Utah, why do we feel like they're struggling offensively when they've still got a top 10 rushing attack? Their offensive line has only allowed 3 sacks all season. Now, Arizona State has a really strong group up front. They're only allowing about 80 yards on the ground per game. So I think winning the trenches is going to be massive in this game. And then also, Utah converts 61% on third down. That's second in the country. That's best in the Big 12, second in the nation. They went 8 for 8 in the first half last week at West Virginia. sustaining these drives, keeping Devin Dampier in rhythm. That's their MO. And keeping Arizona State's Arizona State's offense off the field, I think is going to be massive.
I mean, I think a big reason for that is they haven't really – I mean, Texas Tech's the best team they've played by far. So it feels like we just don't have a total accurate representation of this team. Like, Utah is good. To me, they have a ceiling. And that ceiling is what we saw in the Texas Tech game. And that was coming into the season what I figured would be the biggest issue for Utah. When they found themselves in games against quality defenses that forced them to be multidimensional, can Devin Dampier be a consistent enough passer? Dampier is from Phoenix. He went to Saguaro High School in Scottsdale and was coached actually by the current tight ends coach for Arizona State, Jason Mons. So there's some history here. Dillingham even said that, I wish I would have recruited him, was never really a Devin Dampier believer, and basically said, like, I probably should have recruited him, did not expect him to have the type of production that he's had so far while being in college football.
Okay, so what is the gap then between a Texas Tech and a Utah? It's a 24-point win for Texas Tech. But then we find out after the fact that Devin Dampier barely practiced that week. He was beat up going into that game. It's still essentially a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. I still think that Utah, if Texas Tech is a top 5 caliber team, could Utah be a top 10 team? Are they a top 20 team? What is their ceiling? I still really like their defense. They only give up 14 points per game. John Henry Daly is the most underrated defensive player in this conference. He leads the league with 6.5 sacks. He's all over the field. He's the guy that knocked Baron Morton out of the game because he was just pummeling him time and time again in that Texas Tech game. And then they were flawless their last time out against West Virginia. So I'm with you on let's see what they look like against another quality opponent. But I still think their win over UCLA on the road, week 1, just the way they dominated both offensively, defensively, special teams, line of scrimmage. Maybe that's a better win than we thought when UCLA upsets Penn State over the weekend.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, look, this is what we know about Utah. They have an elite running offense, they have an elite offensive line, and they have an elite defense.
And they have a mid-passing game.
Yeah.
Like Devin Dampier leads the league in completion percentage. That's all great, 70%. But they don't have those explosives, and that's what Kyle Whittingham has been harping on. We need more explosive plays. That's the Achilles heel for Utah. They can get chunk plays, 10, 15 yards, but they just haven't had those game-breaking, huge explosives. But against Arizona State, another team that with a backup quarterback, they're not going to be uber explosive offensively. I think that this plays very nicely into the way Utah wants to play.
That's James Westling. I am Ari Temkin. All right, let's pick these games. We've got 5 games to pick, plus our underdog of the week, all coming up next. With James Westling, I'm Ari Temkin. You're locked into Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, heard exclusively on TuneIn, and watched on Big 12 Studios.